At the outset, I would like to thank Deepak Bhai for this opportunity to speak to the audience on the subject, which is very close to my heart. And the subject is understanding and managing personal and business finance. As Deepak Bhai mentioned, I am 70 plus, and this is a passion and mission for me, this subject, and which, as we go along in the presentation, I will keep on sharing certain details and the issues which I have seen, particularly business community, SME owners facing in a big way. And for them, managing and balancing personal and business finance is so crucial that they have to take care of it. Otherwise, I have seen a lot of issues coming up, particularly with their next generation and for themselves um, as they grow in the age. Now, I'll start my presentation. Um an individual's life journey, basically considering 80 years, is 0 to 20 years. The person is either a child, dependent on the parents, and studying, not earning ideally, most of the time. 21 to 60 is the age when the individual is earning the money and putting his finances into place. 61 to 80, most of the people, they retire and are in the last phase of their life. Now, during this 21 to 60, when the person starts earning and has to go through so many different milestones in terms of meeting the expenses which are there, which come up during this particular phase. And it could be broadly into the following heads: higher education. Sometimes people have to bear their own expenses for the higher education. They take loans and then go. Marriage. This is particularly in those communities whose children, boys and girls, they get married at a later age after 25, 30. Residence is a major issue for people to buy during their lifetime. And with the cost going up, it's really a big challenge, particularly in major cities like Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, etc. Then comes children's education. That is another challenge today because the cost of children education is increasing by leaps and bounds. Then vacations, when you are going for holidays, your own entertainment and all. Major illness of parents, children higher education, children's marriages, unforeseen contingencies which may arise, including if it's a job or something, you may lose a job and there could be some problem in between, or there is a major mishap in your own business. That is a crisis period in your life, which could be a major hurdle. And then planning for the post-retirement. This is the normal life cycle for an individual in their life. Now, when you are doing retirement planning, job versus which take place between the father and the son and the next generation, and fathers generally end up into a serious problem because the finances have not been segregated into business and personal finances. Then earning opportunities post-retirement. That is another thing. People who have been in job or in business, whether they will be able to continue earning between their age of 60 plus is something which is very important. Whether you are planning to stay in Mumbai, how many children you have or you don't have, hometown you are planning to settle down, or you are planning to settle down in cities, senior citizen homes which are there today, which are coming up in a big way, which are replacing villages in the long term. Inflation. One may have earned at a time, those people who worked before, say, 2010 and who are having their retirement life today have a huge problem with inflation. They are finding it extremely difficult to manage their personal expenses and other things. Monthly expenses, it depends how much monthly expenses you are able to control. If you are in a hometown or a small place, your monthly expenses could be contained. But in a place like Bombay or in a major city, it could be very high. Then children marriage. If it is over prior to your retiring, it's well and good. But today, with children, people getting married at the age of 25, 30, 32, and children getting married after 30, there is a huge problem. Most of the time, parents are 65, 70 when children take a decision of getting married. Sickness is another major thing which costs are going up today by leaps and bounds, and it's a major thing for the society today. Entertainment, travel, and social occasions, some marriages and other things in the life. So these are all things which has to be taken care of. Basic financial terms for those people who are not non-financials. For them, I am giving some basic terms which has to be understood. One is income, from where you are earning money, whether it is salary, business profits, any of the two. Expenditure, normal and abnormal expenditure is something which one has to be particularly careful about their abnormal expenditure. And this is where your saving pattern in the earlier times, in our good old times, when our parents were there, they had a very standard pattern system of expenditure. As a result, they were able to take care of the abnormal thing. Most important thing which I'm going to focus on today is assets, long-term assets, your investments, and the liquidity, how you are going to have your liquidity managed. Because this is what becomes very important in your later age as you start crossing 60 and you have to depend on income which is coming from your savings and the savings which is invested properly. Liabilities, routine and abnormal liabilities, particularly if you have contracted any loans over a long period of time and which is going to spread post your retirement, then you are in for some serious difficulties and problems. Savings and investment. Job versus self-employed. A person who is having a job, he has a fairly regular pattern in which the saving will take place. And that saving becomes a substantial amount by the time the person retires. In quite a lot of jobs, they also keep on getting some pension if it's a government job. Self-employed, for them, it's a very important thing for planning, because so long as your current income is coming, you don't have any issue. But when your current income from business stops, and if you have not planned your savings properly, it's a $1 million question and a major issue for people at the retirement. And this is I've seen with so many people. Business is failing later age in your life. That is also a major problem. That's where the business management also becomes very important. Most important is at what age you start your savings, what is the quantum of saving, and what is your investment pattern. These are the three things which I would explain to you through an example during my later slides. And this is the most fundamental thing which people need to understand. New generation, the coming generation who are starting their earning at the age of 25, 30, they need to understand this. Tax benefits and implications of the tax benefit, how it is going to affect your this thing, and family background. Those people who have got a very good family background and who have bequeathed a lot of money from their parents or something, or in-laws or something, they are on a better wicket. But here I am focusing on self-made person who have to basically manage themselves during their life and post their retirement life. Investment options. Traditionally, as per our own culture and system and world over, there are four ways in which the investments can take place. One is gold and bullion. Here, the advantage of Indians has been that traditionally our social customs and culture has been there that we invest a certain amount of money in gold and bullion. And the biggest advantage is that most of the time it is not sold for the lifetime of the person or the individual. Next is fixed interest bearing. Now, where most of the people invest is into the bank FDs or certain other fixed interest bearing instruments like, senior citizens kind of a thing there. But there the problem is that you get interest varying from 6, 7, 8% kind of a thing, which is not even enough to take care of the inflation. And that's where the issues come. Property and assets. Some people who are lucky, who have invested in property and which has appreciated, say in place like Mumbai. Now, as I understand, in Baroda, the properties have not appreciated so much, except in last, I think, 2, 3 years, the properties are going up. Ahmedabad, it is going up. So unless the property appreciates substantially, property may not be in a position to give you so much of care. Plus, it doesn't provide you with regular income. That is something which is very good. And the next is your cash and financial instruments. This is becoming very, very important today. People are investing primarily into stocks and in the mutual funds. And investing in this is very, very important. Now, in this context, it is very important to know the power of compounding. I will explain it through a very simple story, a brilliant this thing, example. There was a king. He was playing chess with his partner. And in the meantime, the people who were serving for him, they brought a prisoner who was to be given a punishment. And he was standing there. He saw king playing the chess, and he found that king is making a mistake, and then he will lose the game after maybe few 2 3 steps or something. So he just told king politely that, sir, if you don't mind, I will just intervene. So king said, okay, tell me. And then he won the game. King won the game. So king was extremely impressed, and he told him that, okay, I'm very happy with your knowledge and your input, and you have made me won the game. And you, as you know, that kings are, they will give some kind of a. He told him that, okay, I'm very happy. You ask for any particular gift or a present, what you want. So he just cracked his head and he said, okay, do one thing. There are 64 squares in the chessboard. You start with the first square, put 1 grain of rice in the first square and keep on doubling in the next. So first one, second, two, third, fourth, like that, you keep on going and put up to the 64. So king started laughing and he said, I have become so happy with you, and you are asking some silly thing. The advisor to the king who was standing there, he said, sir, you don't know what he has asked for. You will have to sell your kingdom and give him everything. Even then you cannot meet his requirement. So that is the power of compounding. And this is what we will see in the next slide. Now, in power of compounding, the 3 things which are important is that at what age you are starting, what is the rate of interest, and for how many years you are going to do it. If you are starting at the age of 25, 30 or 35, what is the quantum of investment which you are doing and what is the rate of interest? Now, based on this, I have prepared a particular slide which will show you, and this is the most important thing which every individual must try to understand and also tell everyone in the family, particularly the children, that what happens. Here in this slide, if you notice, you start investing at the age of 25, you start investing at the age of 30, and you start investing at the age of 35. These are the 3 ages. Earlier you start, say you are starting at the age of 25. Now, the quantum of investment, somebody who is investing at the rate of 10,000 rupees, he says, okay, now let me enjoy my money and I will have a good life. Somebody thinks that, no, let me have a restrained life in the beginning and then I will enjoy the fruits later on. So he is increasing to 15,000. And the third person is very wise, he is advised properly, and he is investing at the rate of 20,000 rupees per month. Now, assuming that the rate of interest, there are 3 options, 8%, 9%, and 10%. Now, see the wonder which is going to take place in the entire investment pattern when your money is going to come in your hand at the age of 60 on this compounded rate. Now, somebody who has started the investment at the age of 35, investing 10,000 and getting 8% return, he will get On investment of 30 lakhs, 88.4 something, because of the slide, I'm not able to see 88.4 crores, 88.4 lakhs at the end of 60 years. As against this, the person who has started investing at the age of 25, so he invests for 35 years. And he is investing at the rate of 20,000 per month, and he's getting interest at 10%. Now, see the difference. He will have a corpus of 650 lakhs and by the time he's attaining the age of 60 years. This is the power of starting early and investing wisely. This is something which everybody needs to understand and implement in their life. Today also, most of the people who are investing, they should invest wisely so that even this balanced period of your life, 5, 10, 15 years, you may be in a position to get a better thing. I'll give you two examples. At the end of the day, two things which are important is Jo Jita Vahi Sikandar. Whosoever has been successful in life is something which is people will talk about him. I'll give you two examples from my personal this thing about two people whom I have come across. One is an engineer and a businessman in exports of medical instruments. He had come as a regular, very, very ordinary guy from UP, started his career in Bombay, but along with his business, which today is around 20, 30 crores of rupees exports, he started investing in the stock market. And today, he is a multi-millionaire. Same way, another person whom I know, he moved, he couldn't complete his studies, along with us in college, as a chartered accountant. But he went to Nairobi. And today, through his business skills, the way he could manage the rolling business in Nairobi, today he has got 4 rolling mills for 4 children of his and his brother. And he's settled properly. Now, this is what is very important when you are planning on your personal front. Now, we will go to the business finance. What is the objective of running a business? Why do we run a business? What is the objective? Now, the objective of running a business is very simple. You want to create a long-term sustainable business. Unless a business is going to survive over a long period of time and which is self-sustaining, there is no point in running a business. Because unless business is self-sustaining and lasts long term, you may earn money for 2, 3 years and then your business flops, then there is a problem. Now, for doing this, what you have to earn is your rate of interest, capital which you have invested, and return to investors. This is something which becomes very, very important when you want to create a long-term sustainable business. Plus, you also have to generate enough funds for routine and expansion. You also have to create wealth for your investors. If you are alone, then your own this thing, and others you have to create the investors. Now, if you see Tata's, they have more than 100-year-old empire. Ambani's also have almost 50 plus years now. Infosys has got 30, 40 years, and Hindustan Lever as a multinational has also a long history over 100 years. Now, these are all win-win situations. Now, how do you create this type of a business which will hold good for a long time to come, and it will also create a very substantial wealth for everyone? Now, when you want to create a long-term sustainable business, what are the fundamental things? Since the time is a limitation, I am just touching upon the key areas. in every of this point. Now, when you want to create a long-term sustainable business, three things are very important. First, you must ensure that utilization of your resources is optimal. If you have a capacity of 100 tons, you should be able to utilize to the extent of 100 tons. If you are in a position to have a certain kind of a service thing or a retail business, whichever the turnover is important, in all those cases, you have to optimize your resource utilization. That is the fundamental principle for optimizing. If you see or check the balance sheet of Shree Cements, I've studied that balance sheet. They always exceed more than 100% utilization. Their plant capacity utilization is more than 100%, 105, 10, 15, like that, they have been utilizing. Second thing, which is very important, is fair distribution to all the stakeholders. When we are seeing stakeholders, means all the parties, whether you as a owner, you are always there, employees are there, people who have given loans to you, those who have advanced funds to you, then people who are buying from you, your buyers, your suppliers, then the government agencies and society at large. Any business which has to survive on a long-term basis, it must have all the stakeholders' interest at heart and ensure that those stakeholders are satisfied and they are happy. In the process, what will happen? You will be in a position to get a very high P price to equity ratio. Means your valuation, in very simple terms, your valuation will be very high. And this valuation, when you compare it for raising the funds, it will help you in terms of getting a cheaper fund. That is the most important thing. Besides, your credibility in the market will be very high. Third thing in today's context is compliances. For historic reasons, which we do not have the time to get into the details, for historic reasons, compliances have been very poor, particularly in the SME and the MSME segment. People have not been complying with this. And as a result, corporate governance issues, today SME public issue market is booming. But as I understand from the people who are heading this thing in Bombay Stock Exchange and uh, other stock exchanges, they are saying that the biggest problem is their governance issues. Their governance issues are in a big problem. Now, with the ESG, environment, social, and governance laws becoming tighter and tighter, government is creating a very, very strong environment where your compliance and governance becomes very important. Now, with these two, what happens? Your performance is excellent. Whatever money you have invested in your business, you are earning a very good return. Along with this, the most important thing where SME owners are very, very ignorant, they don't understand the importance of it, is the credibility. In the last 10 years, the kind of structures, the way the government is going about it, selfless assessments in income tax, GST, the kind of things which are coming up, the in digitization, the kind of data which the government is creating, unless you have complied with the various things, you will end up at some point of the time or the other, and the credibility issue will knock at your doors. And that is where you have to be extremely careful. What is the issue with the businesses, particularly SMEs and MSMEs? Businesses don't plan to fail, but they fail to plan. Most of the business where I have been involved and where I have been talking to the number of SME owners and the business owners, their primary issue is that they have not been planning their businesses. Planning means, say, today the year 23-24 is coming to an end, and 24-25 will be starting. So you must have 24-25 what you want to achieve with the resources which you have, how you want to go about it, and also some kind of a skeleton structure for 25-26 in a small business. In a big business, they do it for minimum 3 to 10 years. This planning will help you to monitor your performance as and when you go forward, to understand that how many goals which you had set up, you are able to achieve it. And this is possible only through sound financial management systems. And again, as I say, most of the SMEs do not have their financial systems into place. This is an absolute must if you want your businesses to grow and survive on a long-term basis. Past historic reasons, I don't want to dwell, we don't have the time for this. From 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, unfortunately, the financial and the other system in which people were operating were not sound enough. They were not, maybe because of the high taxation which was there. There are other reasons because of which they were not following the system for to business to understand how the business has to run and a financial system to be there. Besides, in banking, I will come to that one particular example. They have compromised in their maintaining books of account and the kind of transfer. As a result, these stakeholders, particularly the financiers, have lost their confidence and the trust as far as the businesses are concerned. And this is a major, major issue for which the SME owners and the small business owners have paid a very heavy price. If you notice, in 91-92, liberalization and globalization took place. And as a result, what has happened, earlier we were able to mark profit to our cost and get the selling price and make some profit. But in a liberalized and globalized this thing, market prices are determined by the market forces. And as a result, you are not in a position to keep on raising your selling price as and when you want. You have to therefore manage your cost. And when you want to manage the cost, you must have your entire system and structure into place. Then only you will be in a position to manage your cost. Otherwise, your profits will not be there. And that is what is the biggest challenge these small and medium industries, not only smaller, even the big industries are facing today. Because managing costs is not that easy unless you have all your proper systems and proper management into place. You will not be able to do that. Besides, competition, the way the technology has taken over in last 30-40 years, uncertainties are absolutely in abundance. You will see notices that even the big businesses in 3 to 5 years collapsing. And this we see in startups and so-called unicorns. Byju's is a classic example. What has happened in that business, if you see, business model was very good. But unfortunately, because they couldn't understand, that the market forces, how the market forces are going to reflect on their business performance for their long-term survival, they couldn't do it. And that is where the problem came up. Then last comes is the complexities. In a global environment today, the complexities under which every business is operating is enormous. There is a tremendous amount of complex structure which is there in the market, which people have to comply with. And that is something which you have to keep, updating yourself, and then only you can survive. Which will lead, as I mentioned in the earlier slide, will lead to good performance of the business and also build a good credibility. Because credibility is equally important as you start growing. This is a classic case study of one of the person who came to me recently. Now, I will not be able to share some additional details on this, but this is a bank working capital funding, how it is happening today. And some of you who are into the SME business or who have been taking loans from the bank, you will get an idea out of this, what is happening today in the market. And as a result, what is happening today, banks are flushed with funds. They have a lot of liquidity with them, but they are not funding the SME owners. This case you examine, the borrower had a turnover of 16 crores in the year 21-22. When they applied for the working capital loan, working capital funding, for 22-23, they showed a sales turnover of 30 crores, projection of 30 crores. But their actual sales at the end of 22-23 came out to be only 14 crores. Means it was even less than 21-22. Now imagine those who have gone through, those who understand these numbers, those who have gone through this kind of a funding issue, you will realize that how serious this could be a problem with the bank. Because you have taken the loans, you have taken the working capital funding based on 30 crore projection, and your actual turnover is coming to only 14 crores. Now, what would have happened behind the scene, I cannot discuss or I cannot say anything on this. But this is where the two parties, banker as a lender and business owner as a borrower, are facing a big music, because both will land into serious problem. The banker will not lend even one penny extra, and the borrower will land into serious financial problems. They will not have any liquidity or funds available to them for running the business. Now, therefore, again, when it comes to the banking funding, your credibility with the bank becomes very, very important. Your capacity to repay the loan which you are taking becomes very important. And third thing is, you must have enough capital which will help you to see that you are in a position to serve the uh, requirement and also fulfill the obligations from where you have borrowed the fund. Whether they are, even if you have gone to the SME, today SME platform is there for coming out with an IPO issue. But there again, as I understand, very big issue with the credibility of the owners, the SME owners. So these are the things which become very, very important. Now here, what is happened? I was talking to a banker, and it's a very, very serious issue, which I also talked to one of the bank's management. Whenever a lending takes place, there are two parties. One is the supplier of the fund, which is the bankers, lenders, and the demand, the one who is borrowing the money, which are the SME owners or the other borrowers which are there. Now, the biggest issue what I find is that in this ecosystem, where the regulators are also becoming very active. Today, if you notice in the newspaper, the banks and SEBI both are after regulating all the borrowers and the lenders. To see banks, if you see that, even Paytm, the way they are going about the transactions, it is very closely monitored, because government is very clear that no person should unnecessarily suffer for some goof up somewhere. Now, two major challenges which the business owners have to face is the competition and the governance. You have to manage your competition and the governance also as far as the business is concerned. Now, what are the issues with the demand side, borrowers? Will come in the next slide. What is happening that when you are taking a banking loan or a funding from the bank, there are two parties. One is the lender and the other is the borrower. Now, lender, who are the bankers, they have to do the assessment and they have to monitor the lending, the money which they have given. Now, banks have perfect systems because it's a large setup, large organization, and they have been doing it for ages. They have everything in place. As a lender, they have everything in place. But the issue, what I find and what I've been talking to the bank management is that on the demand side, borrowers are not prepared. Two reasons. One, either they don't know, they don't have the wherewithal of knowing it, or they are being misguided because of their lack of knowledge. And to my mind, second reason is a major reason. They are misguided. They do not understand how to make the assessment of their own requirement, what is the kind of fund which they require for their business, how to make the assessment of viability, whatever funds they are planning to take from the bank, how to consider whether this is viable borrowing or not. I may buy one. This is what has happened with Byju's. This is what is happening with Paytm. They have taken money, but they don't know whether this is becoming viable or not, and whether I am earning sufficient return on the money which I am borrowing. Then how to present the case to the banker. See, bankers are all professionals. Now, most of the borrowers, SME borrowers, even if they have a genuine case, they don't know how to make the presentation to the borrower, to the lender, that is the bankers. And most important, having taken the money, they don't know how to even monitor it. And as a result, they have serious issues, and SME NPAs are growing. Banks, in spite of the funds, are not willing to finance to the SME borrowers for the simple reason that they do not trust them. They do not trust in two things. One, as I mentioned earlier, how you build your performance and your credibility. On both fronts, SME owners are failing. And this is where the SME owners have to learn, and that is where the title goes, understanding and managing your financial management of the business becomes very, very important. And as I mentioned, only minuscule percentage is getting finance from the banks. The banks are really after getting some good SME borrowers, but they are not feeling satisfied. Now, if you see the way the government is going and the way government is planning to do the entire thing, we are talking of a $10 trillion economy in next 5 to 10 years. By 29, we want to be a $10 trillion economy. And from fifth rank, we want to go to the third rank in the world. There are great expectations from the SME segment. In fact, MSMEs are called the growth engine of the economy. Government is officially terming them as a growth engine of the economy. Now, when we are being termed as a MSME is termed as a growth engine of the economy, one has to do a proper working and the thing which will improve their performance. Their contribution, two or three major contribution. First contribution of the MSME is to the GDP. If we are talking of going to 9 to 10% of consistent GDP, MSMEs will be having a huge role to play in this particular context. Second thing is, MSMEs are capable of creating a huge employment in the country. Today, there are around 12 crore people who are employed by the MSME. Government wants to increase it to 16 crores. That is the target which the government is looking at in terms of creating employment. And third most important thing, which again the MSME and the SMEs need to understand and appreciate, is that SMEs and MSMEs will create a huge support system for the large industries. I have worked for one of the Indian multinational, and you will be surprised. They have 4 major plants in 4 different parts of the country, and each one of them have almost 5,000 SMEs as their suppliers. Now, unless these people cope up with the requirement of the large industries, the large industries will not be able to achieve the kind of a performance which the government expects, and the government and which is necessary for our becoming a $10 trillion economy or going to the third rank in the world. So support to the large industry becomes very important. Besides, it will also help in regional developments. Today, if you see the kind of developments, what is happening today in the Northeast 7 states, which were not being focused so much in earlier, now they are being focused, and there are a lot of employment opportunities coming from there. Now, this is my very clear observation. MSME entrepreneurs don't need fish. They need to learn fishing. In the sense, today what is happening, people, everybody is giving them finance, are coming and giving them some advice and other thing, but that is not enough. MSME and SME owners themselves should know what the fishing is, how they need to do the business. Business skills, management skills is a major issue as far as the SME owners are concerned. And this is one of the things which I mentioned to you in the beginning, is something, both management skills and the financial management, both are very important for them to grow. And that is what my mission and passion is at this 70 plus age. I'm working on this, and I'm very clear that this needs to be focused from the government and the economy point of view. Yes, this completes my presentation. Whatever queries you have, you can let me know. Yeah, Deepak bhai.
Any question? Probably we have a time, so you can unmute and shoot a question. Anybody? Any question? We will share the presentation. It is basically, if you go to the YouTube, you will find this recording. There are about 75 people who are watching. We had about 20, 25 people here, and offline, physically, we have about 18 people who are physically offline in hall one.
I am surprised that either they have not got the gist of what I have tried to say, or I have not put it properly, or their background is different.
See, basically, there is a simple issue with any businessman, that he has got some function in his family, or he is renovating his house and he is renovating his factory. So how you strike a balance, spending for personal and spending for business?
Yes.
So, like, if I'm doing your job, I've got only one expenses, and that expenses is basically whenever my saving is there, I spend for my house or whatever expenditure I want to make for my personal things. But for a businessman, your business is always demanding your money. He is always see that with this investment, I'll make more business. With this investment, I'll make more business. So when it comes to doing something in the personal life, normally they are very calculative. So how you balance your finance?
Okay. I think it's a good question. It brings to my mind one of my clients' issue. I will explain in detail. I think the audience will get some clue about what is required to be done. What you said, Mr. Shah, I had one client who came to me, and he was having a wonderful business of printing machine. He was printing certain items. His business was around 2 to 3 crores of rupees annually, and he was having a very good margin of 20 to 25%. So making 40 to 50 lakhs of rupees per annum. Now, what happened? He had gone abroad for seeing the exhibition of printing machineries. Now, without any application of mind, without any work being done, financial projections or financial analysis, he purchased a machine worth 5 crores in Germany and got the machine here. Now, after he got that machine of 5 crore of rupees, imagine he ran into such serious liquidity constraint because he focused only on the technology, that this machine looks very nice and I should have this machine for my business, without trying to understand that 5 crore borrowing, what does it mean to him and to his business, whether his business can serve this kind of a 5 crore borrowing on a 2 crore business. And for sustaining that business, what kind of a growth should be there in his sales? From 2 crores, he need to go to 5 crore or 7 crore. Now, this is where he came to me and asked me, Ki Chetan bhai, what do I do? I said, this is where you have landed into a serious problem. Now, you really need to work hard to increase your this thing and see that, this 5 crore machine is put to proper use. You can't just simply go by technology that, I like a 5 crore car where my monthly income maybe 2 to 3 lakhs of rupees. Now, this is what is happening with the business owners today. As you mentioned, same gentleman, his son he was a Sindhi guy. His son was getting married. Can you believe he went to Taj Lands End in Mumbai and ended up spending crore and a half for the marriage, where he had a problem of paying salary in the business. Now, this is where business people are, getting into serious problem. They don't try to understand that what is required to be done. Now, this is where the business owners, SME owners, because they are at the end of the day, they are individuals and nice, very brilliant people. They have a brilliant business idea, but their business numbers, financial management needs to be matched with what they are capable of doing, what their business is capable of delivering. And when they don't understand and then don't synchronize this, they are running into serious problem.
Sure.
I hope I have conveyed the message.
Yes. Thank you. Any other question people have? So
Sir,
yeah.
Deepak sir,
Yes, sir.
CA HK Shah from Ahmedabad. I feel privileged to be in your meeting.
Thank
So
you.
with permission of our senior chartered accountant Chaitanya, Dr. CA Chaitanya Shah, I will add to the experience that I have on this. The typical problem as is quoted.
Yeah.
See, we Indians, હું થોડું ગુજરાતીનો ઉપયોગ કરીશ આમાં.
No,
આપણે
no
ત્યાં
problem.
પૃથ્વી મતલબ મહારાણા પ્રતાપ ને શિવાજી બહુ પેદા થાય છે ગલીએ ગલીએ. પણ we don't have a habit of working as a team, what foreigners do. અને ભગવાને એક બીજું અદ્ભુત કાર્ય કર્યું છે કે તમે બધા ટેકનોલોજીસના બીજા બધા પ્લગ ફાઇનાન્સ, એડમિનિસ્ટ્રેશન, માર્કેટિંગના ખેંચી કાઢ્યા છે. નહીં તો તમે કોઈ ચૈતન્ય શાહ કે એચકે શાહને પૂછો જ નહીં. એટલા બધા ટેકનિકલ સ્ટાલવર્ટ્સો છો. એટલે ધીસ ઇઝ માય એક્સપિરિયન્સ. અને દેટ આઈ વુડ સે કે તમે કોઈ મોટું ડિસિઝન લો, તમે એકલા એકલા કામ કરો છો, યુ ફોર્મ એ ટીમ, યુ ડુ બ્રેન સ્ટોર્મિંગ, અને યુ જોઈન્ટ વિઝડમ ઇઝ ઓલવેઝ ગ્રેટર. આપણે જોઈએ છે. સો આઈ થિંક હું એક પોઈન્ટ મિસ કર્યો, પણ જે યાદ હતો એ મેં કહી દીધો. પ્લીઝ કન્ટિન્યુ સર. થેન્ક યુ.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Shah, Harishbhai, actually, this is what exactly આજે આપણે ત્યાં what I have મારા 20 વર્ષનો ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીનો એક્સપિરિયન્સ છે, લાર્જ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીઝનો, અને 25 years I am in this SME consulting, and I am observing that the kind of challenges which these people are undergoing and they are facing, most of it is their own creation because they don't know how to manage the business. They have the idea.
સાહેબ પોતાના જ નોલેજના વજનથી, અને they are so much fanatic about dedicated about the technology. Now technology દુનિયામાં એવું છે, હું please pardon my quoting the names because they are my friends and clients. આ સિન્ટેક્સ ડૂબી ગઈ ને, સિન્ટેક્સ ડૂબી ગઈ, રાઈટ?
Yes, yes, right.
ભારત. હવે એ અમિત, રાહુલ ને પ્રણય મારા મિત્રો છે. હું બજારમાં કહું છું કે એમાંથી એક છોકરો SY BCom ફેલ હોત ને, એક જ છોકરો, ત્રણેય નહીં, તો કંપની બચી જાત. આ ત્રણેય એન્જિનિયર હતા ને, એમાં પતી ગઈ. હું ડિસ્ટ્રેસ ફંડ, છેલ્લે સુધી ડિસ્ટ્રેસ ફંડ લઈને ત્યાં ગયો હતો, અને they couldn't rise to the occasion, I would say.
See, this is the point.
બિઝનેસમેન હોય છે ને, એ લોકો એમના તબક્કા ઉપર એને એમ કે હું આજે વિચારું છું ને હું આજે તિકડમ કરીશ ને એ ચાલી જશે, અને એ તિકડમ ના ચાલે ને ત્યારે ડૂબી જાય. He doesn't have a failure plan, as he said very correctly.
અચ્છા, હવે હું થોડું વધારે એક્સપ્લેન કરું કે સાયન્સ સ્ટુડન્ટ છે ને, હું કારણ કે સાયન્સ બેકગ્રાઉન્ડ થી સીએ થયો છું બીકોઝ ઓફ માય ફાધર સીએ KM શાહ, જેમણે રમણીક અંબાણી સાહેબને પહેલો લોનનો ચેક આપ્યો હતો, માઇક્રો ઇન્ક્સ બિલાખિયાને પહેલો લોનનો ચેક એમની કેરિયરમાં. હી વોઝ અ બેન્કર, સ્ટેટ ફાઇનાન્સ કોર્પોરેશન, રાઈટ? હવે સાયન્સ સ્ટુડન્ટને 1+1 એટલે 2 જ ખબર હોય, પણ તમે કોઈ કોમર્સ સ્ટુડન્ટને પૂછશો ને એટલે કહેશે કે ભાઈ 11 કરવા છે, કેટલા કરવા, તારે કેટલા કરવા, બોલ. એટલે that is how the difference emerges in the long run.
I will
yes,
add
sir, please continue.
I will add, Haresh bhai, on this.
Sir, I am Harshesh Kanayalal.
Harshesh, okay, Harshesh. I will add on this. I'll just give one simple, very example. Since I think most of us, the audience is Gujarati, I'll quote a Gujarati thing.
Yes, sir.
તમે થાળી ખાવા બેસો ને, ગુજરાતી થાળી ગોવર્ધનમાં અમદાવાદની અંદર,
અરે વાહ,
તો થાળીમાં 30 આઈટમ હોય, and that makes it a balanced food.
Yes.
તમે ટેકનોલોજી એટલે ખાલી શ્રીખંડ કે ગુલાબ જાંબુ ખાઓ.
સાહેબ સેલ્યુટ છે, જોરદાર દાખલો આપ્યો તમે, ગોરધન ઠારનો જોરદાર પરફેક્ટ દાખલો આપ્યો.
આજે હર્ષેશ, this is what is happening. એ લોકો શું છે, ટેકનોલોજી કરીને બેસી રહે છે. They are brilliant, there is no doubt about it. હવે દીપકભાઈ, if there is a time, I will give one example.
Yeah, you can give.
I'll quote my first client, brilliant engineer from USA. He brought a wonderful technology in India, which is connected with gold utilization in industry, in wristwatch industry. Excellent cost benefit, was phenomenal as far as the economy is concerned. But he was so much wedded to the technology that he kept on investing in the technology without considering whether it is generating enough return or not for survival. And today he is a good friend of mine. I left his assignment. I said, I can't work with you because you don't even consider certain things. Today he is a good friend of mine. His company is gone, finished in 2010. Such a wonderful business.
માણસને પોતાના ટેકનોલોજી અને પોતાના ઇનોવેશન ને પોતાની આવડતનો એટલો બધો નશો હોય છે, એને એટલો બધો ભરોસો હોય છે કે he failed to listen anybody. તમે એ માણસને આપો ને તો he will not listen to you.
હવે દીપકભાઈ, હવે તમને બીજી વસ્તુ કહું. હમણાં બહુ સરસ, I was preparing some notes and I want to give some lecture somewhere. આમાં બે વસ્તુ છે, which I think, જેટલા બી participants, they will understand and they will appreciate. જે business idea જે છે ને, business idea comes from an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur generates the business idea. But business is created by a businessman. And there is a big difference between entrepreneur and a businessman.
બહુ જોરદાર વાત છે.
સાહેબ આ જ્ઞાન તો કોઈ ના આપે, બહુ ખતરનાક વાત કરી તમે.
એમાં એવું છે સાહેબ કે જેને ઇન્વેન્શન કર્યું ને એને
હા.
ક્યારેય ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી મોટી કે બિઝનેસ નથી કર્યું. somebody else has done it.
નહીં,
અને
એઝ
it's
દીપકભાઈ મેન્શન ને હર્ષેશ, એઝ
હાજી
દીપકભાઈ મેન્શન્ડ, જે માણસને એન્ટરપ્રિન્યોર છે એને એના કોન્સેપ્ટ અને એના આઈડિયામાં જ એને ખોવાયેલો છે. હી ડઝન્ટ થિંક બિયોન્ડ ધેટ. પણ બિઝનેસમેન જે છે હી નોઝ કે આને આમાંથી પૈસા કેમ બનાવવા.
યસ.
જેને પૈસા બનાવવાનો ગોલ છે ને એ જ સર્વાઈવ થાય છે બિઝનેસમાં. જેને એમ પ્રોડક્ટ બનાવી દઉં, I don't think that he succeed.
No, Deepakbhai, it's both. You have to have both. You have to have a business, technology innovation and the business concept.
ખાલી ટેકનોલોજીથી બિઝનેસ નથી થતો.
That's the thing.
એટલે ટિપિકલી વિથ પરમિશન ઓફ ડોક્ટર સર ચૈતન્યભાઈ સીએ, ભગવાને છે ને બેટન રેસ એવી બનાવી છે, કોઈ એક માણસ પૂરી ના કરી શકે નહીં તો એ પોતે ભગવાન થઈ જાય. પેલા બિઝનેસમેન ને ફાઇનાન્શિયલ એક્સપર્ટ્સ ને એક લેવલે આપવી જ પડે, બરાબર છે. અને મેં કીધું એમ આપણે ત્યાં મહારાણા પ્રતાપ ને શિવાજી પેદા થાય છે પણ બધાને ભેગા કામ કરવાની ટેવ નથી. એ આપણું એક હવે શીખીએ તો સારું છે એમ.
It's a team building. One thing I will suggest to the audience or those who are interested, people can go to Google and search for e-myth, entrepreneurial myth by Gerber, Michael Gerber. You go and search this. એમણે આ વિષય ઉપર ઘણું બધું લખ્યું છે, પોતાની બહુ મોટી કન્સલ્ટિંગ છે. હી ઇઝ વન ઓફ ધ બિગેસ્ટ મેનેજમેન્ટ કન્સલ્ટન્ટ ઇન USA. મેં એમને કીધું હતું કે આર યુ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ ઇન કમિંગ ટુ ઇન્ડિયા? ધેર ઇઝ અ હ્યુજ માર્કેટ. કારણ કે આ જે એન્ટરપ્રિન્યોર જે છે, જેને ટેકનોલોજીમાં ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ છે, એ જો બિઝનેસ મોડાલિટીઝ નહીં સમજે, બિઝનેસને કેમ વાયબલ બનાવવો એ નહીં સમજે, તો he will land up into a mess over a period of time. They have to understand and take right advice.
Yeah, so 2 more minutes, we need to close this.
Yeah.
So, with permission of speaker, since there was no question, I am extremely grateful to Sri Chaitanya Bhai to spare 1 hour on Saturday evening out of his busy schedule from Bombay and deliver a wonderful talk. And I am thankful to Sri Harshesh Bhai also for complimenting and giving his most appropriate personal experience. And I believe that all the participants has benefited out of this. They will think of it. And whenever they are not able to think, we have these people with us, we can take their help. With this, I end this session. Our next session is going to be on how you can design your greenhouse. How you can calculate your electricity light bill. And we are going to talk on what are the benefits or the Grahak Suraksha, what are our rights and what are the provisions provided by government on Grahak Suraksha. I'm waiting for the confirmation from the speakers. That's why the dates are not announced, but we will announce soon. So thank you very much for being with us, and excellent discussion, excellent delivery. And we will share the recording of this particular presentation. Those who are interested, probably you can find out in the YouTube also. Thank you very much. With this, I end the session.
Thank you. Thank you.
થેન્ક યુ. અરે ચૈતન્યભાઈ